Hey everyone, welcome to TGM Aware, the official podcast of the Gospel Mission. My name is Nate Gates, your host, and with us today, we have a very, very special guest, none other than the man who oversees the entire Gospel Mission, our Executive Director, Randy Ehlers. Randy, welcome aboard.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for having me, Nate.
Well, that, or should I say thank you for letting me have you on here since you're my boss.
Well, I love talking about the Gospel Mission, and I think that's what we're going to do today.
Absolutely. So tell us, or tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Where you grew up, how long you've been at the mission. Just tell us about who you are.
So I've been at the mission for about 2.5 years now, and originally grew up in Southwest Minnesota. I have a bachelor's degree in social work from Northwestern College in Orange City. Later got a master's degree in social work from University of Iowa. And I've worked in health and human services for over 40 years, probably 30 of those in an executive director role. And so that's me professionally, but on the personal side, I'm married to my wife, Donna. We've been married for 38 years. We have 3 grown children who are all married, and 10 wonderful grandchildren, just the joy of our lives. And I am not a pastor. Many executive directors of missions are, but I do have, I am an elder in my church at Morningside Bible Church. And so in that capacity, I help teach Sunday school, I lead a small group, and those types of things.
Nice. So always like hearing stories there. You talk about your background, social work, and now you're here at the Gospel Mission. I mean, God is always working everything out.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded of Romans 8:28, and even when we don't think things are going well, He's working everything out for good. So kind of share a little bit of how you've seen, again, your background and how God's led you here.
Sure.
Mission.
I've always wanted to work in health and human services, and not so much on the therapy client side even, but more so on the administrative side. And my goal graduating from grad school with my master's in social work was to help human services organizations run humane and good human service organizations. One of the things I learned early on in my career was about privacy, dignity, and purpose for everybody that we serve in our organizations. And that's been a theme for me throughout my career. I want to make sure that we take care of the clients that God's given us, whether they were in a secular organization, a government situation, whatever it was. But regardless, I wanted to see our clients taken good care of. In addition, it was always important to me that the staff people that were working for the organization are well taken care of, that they're respected, that they have the tools that they needed to do their jobs, and that I wanted to mentor them and coach them in such a way that they could be good employees, but even more importantly, good spouses and good church members and good neighbors and good parents. So that was always important to me in all my work in human services.
No, this is good. As you're talking, it just reminds me of guys like Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, good head coaches who they would say, like, yes, football is kind of really just a tool, but they want them to be good husbands. They want them to be good dads. They want them to be good people. And so makes it more than just coming to work, clocking in, and getting a paycheck and going, but really having a purpose here. And
it's bigger than just what we're doing here at any organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I mean, human services background, you see the broken, you see the needy, even here at the mission, definitely see it there. So it's tough to be motivated just in life, but especially in a ministry like this that can be draining. Yeah. So what motivates you? What keeps you motivated to come to work at the Gospel Mission every day?
So I think my answer to that is in all the settings I've worked in before, they were not Christian organizations. They were secular organizations. One was a government agency. Others were in nursing homes. Others were working with the elderly. And while I loved doing that work, and I loved the teams that I work with, and I loved the clients, none of them were Christian-based organizations. And while I always felt free to speak about my faith with staff people, with clients, and so on, it just wasn't a primary part of my job. And so I looked for those opportunities. But when I came to the mission, I mean, I do this every day.
Yeah,
I get to share my faith. I get to pray with people. This noon, I prayed over the people that were coming in for noon lunch, and um, I think that was appreciated and very much respected. And so I've had also opportunities to pray with people coming into our food pantry, with other guests of the mission, and um, I thank God that I have those opportunities just to share my faith and my hope in Jesus Christ as my Savior with others around me.
Yeah. It's just interesting. Again, you and I have been to secular organizations, and you start talking about the mission, and before people said like you share the gospel 6 times, and for us it's just like natural. It's natural, right. But when you're in that environment, like it's not so natural. And the word that you said there reminds me of Ephesians 5:16 is opportunity. Yeah. Make the most of every opportunity. So when we're coming to work, whether it's in the office or doing whatever we're doing, it's the opportunity to share the gospel and reflect God's love to the least of these.
And I really felt like God, in my previous 30 years, it must have taken me a long time to figure this out in God's eyes, but He prepared me, I think, really for those during those 30 years to come here and really be my dream job, what I really believe I was created to do.
Yeah, awesome. So every day, gospel mission, coming in, seeing seeing the need. So what would you say as you oversee everything and look down here? What's the biggest need that we have here at the gospel mission?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing is we need people who pray for the mission and pray for our guests and pray for our community members coming in for meals. We don't, and pray for the staff. We don't do this under our own strength because the work can be wearing. It can really break you down after a while. I learned that in the first 40 years of my career, is that human services and caring for people is tough. So and in this setting, we know God can equip us. He can strengthen us. He can give us the power to help. And so we need people who are regularly in prayer for the staff and our guests at the mission. I guess the other thing that I'd mention is volunteering. I love to see people from the community coming in to volunteer their time, even if for a couple of hours, to help in our kitchen, help in our store, lead chapel, help trim bushes, whatever it might be. And then those folks get an idea of what it is the mission is all about. And so I think that's great. And then finally, I guess I would say we're really trying to get people who are willing to mentor our guests, coach our guests, because the mission's not long-term. It's not intended to be a lifetime residence for an individual. So the people we work with are going to be leaving at some point, but we want them to be successful in the community. So we need people to be willing to walk alongside our guests through the good times, the bad times. We need to have them introduce them to their churches so that there's a church connection, so that people are cared for once they leave the mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I like very relational. Yeah. Most people would probably say, just transparency, nonprofit organization. Well, what's the biggest need? Well, we need money, right? Like it's the number one thing.
We'll always take money. We don't do anything here without what our donors are giving us.
Right.
But even bigger, God will provide the money. I truly believe that. But we need the prayers, and we just need to be obedient to what God's calling the mission to do in Sioux City.
Yeah, and I just like that relational aspect. I've obviously seen it in you, as you and I have rolled with this for 2.5 years together. Again, prayer. I mean, a lot of people, I guess I got to pray. Well, that should be your first thing to do. You're relying on God. You're humbling yourself. The volunteers coming in, getting them to serve the guests, but then again, those mentorships, doing life with people, just, mentoring them at your church. It kind of leads into the next thing is the stories. Yeah. I've seen you multiple times, very many guests that are in our care or have been in our care where you've made good connections with them, talked with them. They'll come to your office, not because they're in trouble, because, they need to talk. So share a little bit about that. What are some stories that, have really impacted you in your time here at the mission?
Yeah, I mean, I've met so many people, and one individual that I've come to know, his name is Sean, and Sean's a current guest, and Sean made some bad choices in prior years, and he's currently suffering the consequences for those choices. But Sean has changed in his time at the mission. Instead of, he really had nowhere else to go once he came to us, and we hear that story all the time. This is my final straw that I have to go to, and Sean has grown spiritually and emotionally, and he's being a role model to our other guests here at the mission. And Sean has expressed a desire to be a staff person, a full-time staff person with us. And we hope that we can do that, because we need positive examples of people who have gone through the program, been at the mission, and now are ready to share that hope that they received here with other people around them. I think the other thing I've noticed is, we deal with hurting, broken people, and not all of them are staying here. Some are coming into our food pantry, for example, and it has not been uncommon for someone, when I'm taking registrations for the pantry, for people to say, hey, I'm dealing with this. And it could be, hey, I have to have surgery next week, or my son or daughter is really in trouble right now, or whatever it is. And my first reaction has to be, hey, can I pray for you? And I've never been turned down by someone who I've offered to pray with. And it can be a 30-second prayer, but then, with a hug and a handshake, that hopefully has helped that person get through that stress that they're going through because of that loss.
Yeah, it is very interesting. You just said, you ask, can I pray with you? No one says no. No one's ever said no. And it's very interesting when you feel like led, like, God's saying, hey, pray for this person. So you just talk to someone, and boom, right then and there, you feel someone says, oh yeah, I got a surgery coming up, or oh man, my son or my daughter's going through a bad time. So again, it's just, hey, that opportunity to be used by God as his instruments to reach those who are hurting, and just pray with them. And that it makes their day.
And I think the other thing I've noticed is, when people come to the mission, I hear this over and over again, that they feel safe and secure here. If you've been sleeping on the street somewhere or on a park bench, that doesn't feel very safe.
Right.
And I think we've created an environment here where people, their basic human needs are being met: safety, security, food, shelter, clothing. And when they have those things, then they can start expanding into more of the spiritual things. And then we have an opportunity to speak the gospel into their hearts through God, through chapel, through one-to-ones, and so on. So I think that's the other big story about the mission.
Absolutely. All right, so good stuff there. I love the stories. Obviously, as a leader, it's really, really tough. You're kind of on an island by yourself. You feel sometimes a little isolated. You got a lot of weight on your shoulders. I think a lot of leaders put that on themselves. But what would you say is the biggest frustration? Not necessarily in your role here, but just biggest frustration that you see.
I think, as I said earlier, mission work is hard work, and it burns you out. And when that happens, you just got to go to God with that, and hand that over to him, and say, Lord, I'm having troubles today. I can't do this on my own. I need you to strengthen me. And so you hand them over to God. I don't know that I get frustrated easily. I hurt for people who are struggling with addictions, with meth, with alcohol. I struggle. I hurt for people who have unforgiveness in their hearts, who can't forgive a past wrong, and I know that is so hard to get over. We're commanded to forgive our brothers, and so I think those are probably the things that just really pull at my heart, is seeing people struggle with life, broken relationships. How many people do we serve today that have been married, for example, and now aren't, because something that happened in that relationship, or who don't have connection to their grown children, or to their parents and siblings. So I think those things are the things that probably hurt me the most.
I like that. Not frustrating, but you hurt.
Yeah.
And as you've experienced, whether it's here at the mission or previous work, you just feel like you love them more than they love themselves.
Yeah.
You start to connect with them. You build that relationship. You want, like, little brothers or little sisters. You want to see them do good. Fortunately, something happens. Again, that frustration, that addiction, or whatever it is they're going through that they can't kick. And
people are just worn out. And like I said earlier, sometimes the mission is their last thing. They don't know what else to do. other than go to the mission, even if they don't want to. But
Sure.
and so we open our arms, we give them some love, some hope, and besides the basic needs, things that they need.
Yeah. So, good stuff here. And this is, guys, these are things that we all deal with on a daily basis. Coming down to the mission and doing life with these guys. I said to the staff multiple times, it's like when Jesus was walking the earth and all these sick people are coming, and your eyes are just wide open, and he's healing them, and it's like, holy cow! Like my problems probably aren't as big as what some of these other people's problems are. So a very rewarding ministry to be a part of. But as you kind of shared before with some stories, some good things that come out of it.
Yeah.
So outside of the guest connections, just what are some highlights in your 2.5 years at the mission?
Yeah, I think one of the, it's not a specific highlight, but I love working with our staff people. And when you and I sit down and discuss plans for the mission or with some of the other team members, I don't have to worry about where you're coming from or the staff people are coming from on their worldview. I know my team is going to look at problems and opportunities from a biblical standpoint. And so we start out on the same level, the same viewpoint. And so it makes our discussions a lot easier to work through. We require as a mission that a person who comes to work for us, they be a professing member, that Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior. And so again, that just makes it just makes it easier. And then the other thing with our guests, just someone who's come in and like I said, being worn down, and then I see a smile or a glimmer in their eye, or I get a hug or a handshake from somebody, or an act of appreciation, just gratitude for what the mission has done. And so, I mean, when those things happen, it just kind of warms your soul and it gets you going for the next hour or the next day or the next week or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, good. Interesting. You said something in there that you and I, we have these conversations all the time. If one of our ideas hit, it might be gold. I don't know. We have 16,000 like thoughts throughout the day and whatnot, but just kind of maybe give a little bit of a sneak peek to everyone watching, some future plans. What are some future plans that we have here at the Gospel Mission?
Well, I think you never want to be status quo. I think you always want to be looking ahead what your new opportunities are going to be. And so our board has gone through a strategic planning process in the last year, and we've identified some things that we think are opportunities. You and I have talked about the mental health issue extensively, and so many of the people that come to us have mental health issues of one type or another, and we could talk for hours about that. But regardless, sometimes people's mental health is preventing them from getting well and being able to have a clear enough head to really hear the gospel. And so I think we need to be better as a mission at addressing those things, both from a biblical standpoint, but also from a treatment standpoint. And so I think the other opportunities that we've had are kind of expanding our women and children's program. I think we have opportunities to better serve single women who have children, both from helping the single women, but also growing their children and helping them better parent their children from a biblical standpoint. And then I would say that if we're going to do those things, we're going to have to raise more money. And we've talked about money a little bit. I don't like to talk about money, but money drives mission. If you don't have money, you don't have mission. And so I think we have to continue talking to the community about the things that are going on, how God is working here in the mission, and I truly believe God will take care of it after that.
All right, so a lot of exciting plans ahead here at the Future of the Gospel Mission. And with that, we need partners. We're not just a one-man show here. So make your spiel to the community. Hey, why should you partner with us here at the Gospel Mission?
Sure. I think the first thing I'll say about that is the Gospel Mission is not a church. We aren't an established church in this community. And so we need church partners to come alongside of us. And that can be as simple as coming and helping serve a meal. helping in our thrift store, or helping with chapel, or even bigger and sometimes messier, working with our guests, stepping alongside of our guests, so that when a person leaves the mission, they have a go-to person, that they aren't depending on the mission for their spiritual growth and development. And as far as like businesses and schools, we've heard many times when we talk to groups, well, I didn't know the mission did that.
Yeah.
And so we want the opportunity to come speak to churches, businesses, community groups, the Rotary, whatever it might be, and just share what's going on with the mission. And if that hopefully prompts you to do something with the mission, to partner with the mission, maybe it's a donation, or maybe it's running a food drive or a clothing drive, or helping out for a few hours at the mission, we welcome that. We want to share the good things that are happening at the mission.
Yeah.
Come visit us. If you have a youth group, or a men's group or a women's group, a senior citizen group that goes out and does things like that, we'd love to have you come for a tour. We'll walk you around our buildings, facilities, but even more than that, we get to share stories, just like you and I are doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole I don't know tour. So if you are interested, myself, Randy, our team, we'd love to come talk to you, share more about the mission. Especially if you minister yourselves to people in this audience. But then also, like you said, to come on campus. You volunteer, getting people on campus and seeing the day-to-day things is very rewarding. So a lot of exciting things there. It has been fun. Did I do well? You are my boss, so did I do well?
I'll give you an A+.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
So there you hear it. Our executive director, Randy Ehlers. Thank you so much for this. And, look forward to seeing more about these future plans and what's going on at the mission.
Love to talk about the mission, Nate.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.